All right, so in the first two videos of this series, we discussed what to consider when building out a presentation and some of the basic building blocks of an effective PowerPoint deck. In this video, we're going to go another step further and explore some specific ways to set your PowerPoint slide decks apart from others in a really crisp and creative way. Something all of us have witnessed at one time or another in other people's presentations is this habit of throwing a slide up onto the screen that has multiple bullet points or even full sentences on it. All right, so just for a minute, think about what happens in the mind of my audience members when they're suddenly confronted with a whole lot of words on the screen. What do? They start reading them, right? And while you might be speaking just to bullet point number one, your audience is reading every single word on your slide. And consequently, they're not hearing a word that you say. That's not at all what you want. Anytime we're presenting, we want to be holding the audience in the palm of our hand, really guiding them along the journey of our message. At no point should the audience's attention be stuck on something we said 5 minutes ago or be jumping ahead to what we haven't yet addressed. We want them present with us at every single moment. So anytime you incorporate multiple bullet points onto one slide, utilize the animate feature when building that slide so that you can animate each of the bullet points in when and only when you begin speaking to it. The animation itself does not need to be overly clever. In fact, most organizations prefer you keep it really simple. But presenting your bullet points this way allows you to keep your audience from jumping ahead of you in the presentation and potentially missing something that you might be saying. Another thing you're probably seeing in a lot of presentations is this tendency for the bullet points to not actually be bullet points at all, but full-on sentences. And that presents two problems, believe it or not. First, it basically forces you to read each of your points to your audience verbatim, causing you to appear as though you are leaning way too hard on your presentation slide, which you essentially are. And second, doing this makes your audience feel as though they're being read to, which they probably hate.
Seriously? He could have just emailed me this PowerPoint deck and I could have skipped this meeting altogether.
All right, so how do we fix this? Well, we start by writing out each of our bullet points in full sentences. Then we go back and edit them down to just a few key words. So while we might start off with, CN should always be providing an update with a summary of patient's history, we'll eventually edit that down to CN-patient history update. Then when we're presenting this particular bullet point, we will verbally deliver the message in full. For example,
and finally, CN should always be providing an update with a summary of the patient's history.
So doing this not only keeps your audience from feeling read to, but it keeps them curious about what each of your bullet points actually means. It keeps them glued to you as the presenter because you are the one who is going to be providing meaning to each of the bullet points. Not only that, but it positions you, not your PowerPoint deck, as the knowledge holder and expert. And as a result, your audience ends up perceiving you as both credible and competent. Now, I know what you might be thinking.
But if I don't write everything out on my PowerPoint slides, I'll have to memorize my entire presentation.
And I get that. I honestly do get that. All I would ask you to consider is, do I like it when I'm sitting through a presentation where the speaker is reading to me? When that happens, what is my perception of the speaker's competence regarding his or her presentation topic? Get really honest with yourself about your answer to those questions. And actually, you're more than free to use handheld notes or even a confidence monitor or your laptop while you present. All that matters really is that from your audience's perspective, you appear as though you know your stuff. That's what you want.